Hi, I'm Captain Larry Bell with Texas Fishing Tips, and this is your weekly fishing report.
All the way up here in Mesquite Bay, from Rattlesnake Reef, all the way down this southeast side up here in Mesquite, down toward Cedar Flat, all the way down toward Cedar Bayou mouth. This whole area, not tremendously amount of fish being found right now in this particular spot. You can ultimately, if you really want to, you can probably eliminate this shoreline for the moment. There is some grass that's on it. There are a few scattered fish that are on it. If you want to take your time with it, man, throw your down south, both models, your super model, your regular model. Throw the Myrmidons, the 27 MRs or the 17 MRs, any of those, whatever flavor that you want to really work those. The profile size of the baits have fluctuated from a bigger profile to a medium-sized profile to a smaller profile. So if you're not getting something on say a bigger profile, if that's how you want to start, downsize it, get down to a little bit smaller. Even though we're on the backside of the big moon, we're headed toward a new moon that's coming up here pretty quick. Once you find the grass and you find a little bit of bait that's working in that area, you're going to locate some fish. It may take you a little bit to locate them. You're going to have to be super patient. Again, our tides have kind of dropped back on us a little bit, so make sure that you pay attention to that. Make sure that you incorporate a major or a minor throughout your fishing day. At some point, locate when those are taking place. See if you got some tidal movement, either wind driven or tidal driven, either one, doesn't matter. And incorporate that. Stack as much positive stuff as you can in your favor, especially in areas that are having difficult time for fish showing back up. Again, they're doing the dredging. It's cedar, so eventually that's going to help this area quite a bit. So just continue to work these. There are some scattered redfish up here. If you're catching trout right now, again, continue to practice that catch and release on them, because there's lots of the trout right now. They've got a lot of full bellies of eggs in them, and you can see the old red marks on their belly where they're trying to hunker down in that grass to get ready to lay those eggs. So if you're catching those, put those fish back in the water just to help our estuaries out. Out here on Copenhale Bay Reef, all this area up in here, all the way to the shoreline, either direction, this way, doesn't matter which way you want to go. The biggest deal right now is locating some grass, finding you some bait fish that are working all up and down the shoreline. The fish are starting to make that transition back to the sand in your shell reefs. Just work up and down that Copenhale Reef that's out there, the reef that's on the other side of North Pass there. Work up and down it. Just look at your depth finder. Unless the waters are like super really dropped out, you're not going to see it on the surface, but you'll have to locate it with your depth finders. If you've got waypoints marked on there, I'm sure you can locate those. Most updated GPSs now have all those reefs in place, so just get to those locations, work around those areas, work your deeper water first. The bait fish have been hanging a little bit deeper out here in this off water, deeper color water here. You can locate some trout that are hanging out there, and again, if you see that those fish are got eggs that are ready to lay, let them go. Let them put them back in there. You can get back to them later on in the summer. But continue to work all this. See what find your grass, work that grass, really pick that grass with your plastics. Use your down souths, your darker versions, your magic grass, chicken of the sea, your regular versions, true plum, purple rain, any of those. Even downsize all the way to the burner shad if you need to use that as well. But use your darker color, because if you fish Copenhale, you well know once that wind starts humming, it'll start getting blown out on you pretty good, and that water dirties up. So you got to find some clean water, or just be ready to hunker down and really work the dirtier water with the darker colored baits. Your Myrmidons have worked pretty good up in here. Again, the fish are really scattered. You may come across 2 or 3 here, none at your next stop, 4 or 5 at the next stop. You can come back, work up in here into Mission, get into Mesquite Bay. Work on both sides of it. Find the protected side, whatever your wind is doing. Make sure you pay attention to that, because this little Copenhale gets to be a rough little son of a gun if you're not careful. But continue to work those. Work the grass that's out there. You find the shell beds that are out there. Work around those. Work over the mud as well. The fish are kind of holding over everything, so they haven't made the true transition yet, but they're thinking about it. They're like, okay, I think it's getting close to that time. So that's what they want to continue to do. So work all that. Stack everything as much as you can in your favor, so you can have very, very productive days back up in these areas. All over here on Long Reef Bend, all the way down in the bend area down here in front of all the back lake mouths, all the way up to Jaybird Point, all the way back around down to Spalding. All this area here, man. Find your location. Long Reef Bend's got some nice grass on it. You're gonna have to really spend some time in there. Find your bait. There's been a decent amount of bait that's been working in there lately. That, like I say, the grass has been really good. It's starting to come back in there, and that'll be a key thing to watch too. Is a lot of these shorelines that used to be really plush with seagrass that has disappeared is starting to come back. So if it really comes back like it was 5, 6, 7 years ago, these shorelines will be electric with fish. It will really go a long way of helping these areas. But for right now, you're gonna have to really take time, really locate your fish, your bait. Again, use all different sizes of your baits. Your supermodel and your down south, or whatever flavor plastic that you like. You know, use your big models of that. Use your regular models. Paddle tails. Work some paddle tails. Paddle tails have been working fairly good in that, you know, need a thigh deep water when it's a little off color and you got some overcast. Again, we're on the back side of the big moon headed toward the new moon, so those bigger baits should be productive for you. It hasn't shown to be just yet. It hasn't kicked into that. Again, just use all different sizes. Don't be locked into just the one size. That's all I'm going to throw, and you don't have a very productive day. Be flexible enough to throw those different size baits to see really what they want and what they're honing into. Pay attention to what the bait is. Pay attention to the size of the bait. Look at that. See what your tides are doing. See if they're incoming, outgoing. See if you've got a wind-blown current. See if you're on a wind-blown shoreline. All those things come into key points, especially right now as we head into that transition into our middle of our spring, and summertime is not far away. Again, these fish are looking for a spot to lay these eggs. You've got these back lake mouths that are dumping out on these lower tides that are coming out in front of those. Those are great places to set up. Throw in those mouths. Work the bait. All your different baits, your miradines, your jerk shrimps, your down souths. Even throw a topwater. Topwater hadn't been super great lately, but ever so often you can throw it and it gives them just a little bit different look, and you get an opportunity. So don't be opposed to throwing that. Even if it's not your forte, that's all right. These are great times to really expand your baits, your opportunities to throw these baits and really work them, because it'll really help you down the road when things do get tough again. So just continue to work these areas, look for your fish in these areas, be patient with them, incorporate your majors and minors, and you'll locate some fish.
Thanks for watching. I'm Captain Larry Bell.